The US dollar totally collapsed last week as predicted. And if you've been following this channel, you remember I told you if price take out this trend line below, we are coming into this price level. And that is exactly what price did last week. Now, for next week, what should we be expecting? I'll still be expecting bearish continuation, but I believe we are going to have a major pullback before that happens. Now, on the weekly time frame, where am I expecting that pullback to come into? I'm expecting to see a pullback into 12758 level. Just so you know, I use the Dow Jones Dollar Index with FXCM. The name of the broker is FXCM, and the name of the dollar index I use is Dow Jones Dollar Index. So you can search that on your trading views so that you can keep track of what I'm doing. So let's continue. I'll be expecting a pullback to 12758. So next week we could see two things. We could easily, if we quickly get the pullback, then we are going to continue bearish. But if the pullback takes its time before coming into this zone, then there's every likelihood that we may close next week bullish on dollar index. And what does that mean? The catch here is when dollar index is bullish, that means Euro USD is going to sell off, GBP USD is going to sell off. What I'm basically saying is USD is going to be stronger across the currency pairs. And when dollar index is falling, just like it did last week, then you are going to see a weak dollar across board. So which means Euro USD is going to be buying, GBP USD is going to be buying, USDJPY is going to be selling like crazy, right? Now, my point is I'll be expecting a pullback into 12758. And if we get that pullback quickly next week into this zone, then I'll be expecting continuous bearish trend from there. But if we fail to get here quickly enough, then we may close next week as a bullish candlestick. But the point I'm trying to make here is we are going to come back to retest 12758 before we continue going bearish. On the daily time frame, it's pretty much the same. Price took out this trend line. I rightly predicted so that price was going to collapse last week. And now, if you notice on the daily time frame, price is at a strong support level. If you look left, I mean, you can see how it reacted. Price that bounced from this zone previously, came back, bounced from the zone previously, then came back. And it looks like we are bouncing off again. I mean, typical market structure, right? And you can see how we close for Friday. We close with a bullish candle for the first time throughout last week. Throughout last week, price was bearish until Friday. So, and why is that? I mean, once again, because you can see price is bouncing off this strong support level. So where will I be expecting price to pull back into? Definitely, I'm expecting price to pull back into this broken zone here. All right. Before we continue bearish, maybe back into this zone or further down. But let's take it one step at a time. Let's start with this back into this zone first, so we'll be able to determine where we'll be going next. All right, so what am I expecting price to pull back into this zone? Of course, you can see how price has reacted to these zones multiple times previously. So now that price has taken out that zone, then now naturally I'll be expecting a pullback into those zones, right, for us to continue what? Bearish. So what I'm saying in a nutshell is next week I'll be expecting bullish move on the dollar index before we eventually go bearish. So before we go bearish, it depends on how fast we get to this price area here. So let's check out the 4 hour. 4 hour is basically the same with the daily time frame. Remember last week price was trading around here, this exact candlestick, right? Sorry, this one, the next one, yeah, this exact candlestick, right? And in last week's video, I predicted price pulling back into this area before dropping. Guys, I actually didn't expect that price was going to drop all the way to this zone. I was actually looking at this trend line or even this price area, right? But price had other plans. I mean, it just kept dropping and dropping and dropping, right? And I also called your attention to the fact that we have a head and shoulders pattern and price had broken the neckline and price was going to fall. And price did exactly as predicted. So now, like I said earlier, I'll be expecting price to pull back into this zone that has been tested multiple times, looking left, right? Just like I mentioned on the daily time frame. So I'll be expecting price to come back into that zone before we continue bearish. All right. So for next week on dollar index, I'm initially bullish. Then hopefully when we get to this zone, if we get to this zone early enough within next week, then I'll expect bearish push to the downside after we get into this zone. So now that we've seen what is happening on the dollar index, let's quickly look at some US dollar pairs. Then we'll look at gold, we'll look at USDJPY. All right. So we're going to be starting with USDCHF. USDCHF, for those of you that have been following me on Telegram, on YouTube, from when we started, I think August or September last year, Price was trading around here when I predicted that price was going to drop all the way down to 0.87664 right here, right? And we finally got into that zone. As a matter of fact, we've even broken below that zone. Let's go to the weekly time frame. On the weekly time frame, I remembered calling or predicting this whole move to this downside since last year. You can see the screenshots on your screen right now as proof, right? And we had a double top, price broke below this neckline. And if you notice, USDCHF has been giving us sweet wave. I mean, sweet bearish market structure. Now, if you don't understand what I'm talking about, let me show you. Now, price came and broke below this previous low here, right? Creating a new lower low, breaking below this low, right? What did you notice? Price went back for a lower high, retesting this exact same area here, right? Then the next leg, it created a new lower low, breaking below this, then going back for a retest to retest this zone that has been tested multiple times, looking left, right? Then what did you notice? Price has now officially created a new lower low. And just like I mentioned on the dollar index, I'll be expecting a pullback, right, on the dollar index. So which means I'll be expecting a bullish dollar, an initial bullish dollar for this beginning of next week. So what does that tell us? USDCHF will be bullish for the initial part of next week, right? Hopefully, that's what I would like to see. All right, so I would like to see price pull back into this zone, give us a clean pullback, just like how it has been doing earlier, then come back to retest these broken zones here before we now continue bearish again, creating a new lower low. Now that I've created a new lower low, if we get that pullback, where is going to be my next target? If price keeps pushing lower, let's go to the monthly time frame. I would like to see some levels that price had used previously. It looks like price is headed here. I mean to 0.7845. Sorry, am I right? 0.7485. So it looks like price is headed there. But first of all, let's look at price, the possibility of price coming into 0.82971. So 0.82971 is our first target. Then if we break below 0.82971, then we'll come into 0.78567. You know, I often come here to project price movement. So guys, you want to take note of what I am saying. All right, feel free, plot this on your chart so that you can follow everything I'm saying here. So on the weekly time frame, we've analyzed the weekly time frame. Let's go to the daily time frame. On the daily time frame, like I said, on the weekly time frame, I'll be expecting price to give us a pullback into this zone. If I zoom left, you see price had used this area. Sorry, my internet is kind of slow. So you can see price had bounced off this zone previously. So, and now price has broken below that zone, right? So I'll be expecting for next week for price to come into 0.87664 before we continue lower. All right, and if we continue lower, what is our next level target? 0.82971. all right, so let's check out the 4-hour time frame. Let's see what's happening on the 4-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame last week, price was trading around here. Right? And I called your attention to the fact that I'll be expecting a pullback into here before the drop. In fact, before then, for the previous weeks, I already predicted that I'll be expecting price to take out this zone, give us a retest before we drop, right? And when I discovered that price had broken below that zone in last week's video, I called your attention that now I'll be expecting the pullback, and that was why I plotted this arrow, right? And I predicted price dropping all the way into 0.87664. However, price decided I had other plans and just kept blasting all the way to the downside. So like I've said on the weekly and daily time frame, I'll be expecting a pullback into this price area here. On the 1-hour time frame, we've seen a double bottom. So maybe when market opens, I'll be expecting to see price come back to retest the neckline. Here's the neckline of the double bottom of the 1-hour time frame. So maybe for early part of next week, I would like to see price give us a pullback into this neckline before maybe probably blasting higher. I don't know if it's going to come all this way to the upside, but I mean, that's the technical thing to do. It has to pull back. I mean, price had collapsed, right? It has to pull back. So I don't know if it's going to pull back all the way to this zone, but I'll be expecting a pullback at least into this region, or if we break above this region, then further up before we continue bearish, all right? But overall on USDCHF, I remain bearish. Now let's look at GBP USD. GBP USD, let's start from the weekly time frame. If you remember last week, price on this close, I told you price is definitely going to continue higher, right? You can even see from the thumbnail, I specifically wrote it there, bullish. I was just bullish and bullish biased alone. So, and as you can see, price didn't disappoint, but I didn't know price was going to blast this high. I never knew price was going to blast all the way to this zone with this one single candlestick. But if you remember, I've been calling your attention to this exact zone. If you've been watching go back to my 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks video, I've been calling this top here. I've been calling this zone, and price looks like we are approaching that zone finally. And you can see the nice wave, also bullish market structure on the weekly time frame for that matter. Higher highs breaking above this, higher lows, higher highs breaking above this, higher low, higher high breaking above this, higher low, higher high now, right? Breaking above this. So we're expecting a higher low before we continue to the upside, all right? So I'm still expecting price to come into 1.31747. However, for the early part of next week, considering what is happening on the dollar index, I'll be expecting a pullback. A pullback. Guys, just ignore this. This is from the mentorship programs, all right? So I don't want to delete it because we are going to continue next week. Anyways, remember when price was trading around here, I called your attention to the fact that I'll be expecting a pullback, then a push up to the upside. So last week, price was trading around this area, and I told you that, okay, guys, when we break above this area, we're going to continue high, and that's exactly what price did. Let's go to the 4-hour time frame. So on the 4-hour time frame, let me zoom in. Price was trading around here last week, and I gave you 2 options to jump into the buy. Remember, I told you that I've been bullish around here. Actually, I got this trade on the 15 minutes time frame, so I'm going to show you. In fact, let me show you before we continue. I am currently swimming in money on this pair. Where did I enter again? I think it's around here. Yeah, this was my entry with this tight stop loss, and price is trading around here at the moment, right? So right now I'm floating 27 pips. I don't know why GBP is just paying the bills for me. Last month it was GBP-JPY. This month is GBP-USD. Anyways, it's a good thing. So right now I'm currently floating 27% on this trade alone. Whereas I was poor in my prop firm last week. I won't even lie to you guys. I lost like 2% last week. Yeah, exactly 2%. It's not up to 2%, about 1.5 or 6%, right? But look, here I am, swing trading, paying all the bills and all of that. But I was busy. I was actually distracted. I was busy with other stuff, from meetings to meetings, and also price had already left. You know how price moved last week. So I was just scrambling to rejoin, but I was getting stopped out before price continued. So I just said, okay, you know what? I'll bounce back next week. But for my swing accounts, I'm doing just fine because I caught it since last 2 weeks and I've been holding ever since then. But enough of that. Let's go back to our analysis on the daily time frame. Okay, we've analyzed the daily time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, so I called your attention to the fact that I'll be expecting 2 things for us to join the buy. It's either price breaks above here before you join the buy, or price pulls back into this zone before you join the buy. But this would have been the sweetest place to join the buy. Maybe I didn't plot my zone properly. There's no specific way. Maybe I should have done this instead of what I did before. Maybe I didn't plot my zone properly, and that is why price actually reacted here. Maybe I should have done this actually. I should have done this, capture the top of this, and of course the bottom of this. It wasn't a clean zone, right? I even mentioned it when I was plotting it last week. But well, it doesn't matter. Price dropped into here, blasted higher, broke above the other entry zone I gave to you guys, continued higher. So but you can see that we are beginning to have a pullback on the 4-hour time frame. Now the GBP USD is too trendy at the moment, so I can't even spot a zone that I'll be expecting price to pull back into before we continue bullish. I know that we're going to continue bullish at some point, but we need a level, right? This pullback has to come to a level before we continue bullish. But price is super bullish right now on GBP USD. I don't even know where to plot a zone to buy from. So I'll be watching it, and I'm going to be dropping an update within the week. All right. But for early part of next week, just like the other pairs, what I'm expecting on the other pairs, I'll be expecting an initial pullback. Right. I'll be expecting this bearish continuation. Right. But I don't know. Maybe for starters, let's look at this zone for a start. All right. So I'll be watching, and if I see how price progresses, I'll be dropping a chart analysis on the Telegram group and also on the YouTube community. So if you are subscribed to this YouTube channel, you will definitely see my chart update. So for starters, let's look at price continuing all the way into this zone for a start. Then if we break below this zone, then I'll be expecting price to continue further down into this zone. Now, the first zone is 1.30624. The second zone is 1.29884. All right, but I don't have a solid zone at now. But overall on GBP USD, I'm still bullish, but we are going to see a pullback before we continue bullish. All right, for overall, I'm still expecting price to come into 1.31747. Now let's go to Euro USD. Let me drag Euro USD up. Euro USD. Then next we'll talk about USDJPY and then gold. All right. So Euro USD, let's see how we close for the week, which is the most important thing to do. Euro USD also, I was actually expecting price to come into this resistance zone. If you watched last week's video when price was trading around here, I said, okay, I'll be expecting price to come into this resistance here, but price blasted above that resistance and just kept shooting all the way to the upside. Now on the daily time frame, however, I called your attention to the fact I specifically mentioned this last week, that price was creating, this was a low, a higher low, a higher low, right? And I will be expecting price to keep blasting higher. I also even called your fact to the fact that price is creating something like a flag pattern, a bullish flag pattern here, and price had broken out with this specific candlestick, and I'll be expecting price to continue higher. If you watch, that's why it's important to watch my videos, because you are not going to go wrong with my videos. But anyways, price did exactly that, and price kept blasting not only into my target, as a matter of fact, blasted above the target. Now we are trading above this zone. Now I plotted a zone looking left. I have to wait for a second for my charts to load. Yeah, so price came into this zone. You remember price used this zone as a level of support previously, blasting above it, coming back, blasting above it, then finally breaking below, using there as a level of resistance. After that, I'm blasting all the way to the downside. Now price has broken above that zone. Now I'll be expecting two things next week. Two things and two things alone. I'll be expecting price to pull back into this broken zone, which is between 1.11847 and 1.11576. I'll take that again. 1.11847 and 1.11557. All right, you get the point. So within these zones anyways. And if you notice on this daily time frame, you see how we've closed for Friday. We'll close with this massive dodgy candle. So I'll be expecting a decline for the initial part of next week. So now it's two things. If we get our pullback, if our pullbacks happen early enough within the week, then we'll get our bullish continuation. But if our pullbacks fails to complete early enough within next week, then we can remain bearish throughout next week. All right. But overall, don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it mixed up. Overall, on Euro USD, I am super bullish. But there will be pullbacks next week. Expect that. All right. So if let's say you're a swing trader and you've caught the move all the way from the bottom, all the way from below here, then I'll advise you to keep holding your trade. The pullback won't bother you, all right? But if you are in maybe around here or maybe around here, then the pullback will likely come and stop you out. So it's better to either close your profit so that you rejoin later or break even or so. But if you've caught the trade earlier, maybe anything around these areas here, these price areas here, I'm talking about 1.10125. If you know your trade, you got the entry way below this or around this zone, you are still fine. But anything around here, guys, we are expecting a pullback and it may stop you out before we continue bullish. But don't get it twisted. Overall, I am bullish. So let's go to the 4-hour time frame. So like I mentioned, or let's even go all the way down to the 1 hour. But before we go to the 1 hour, if you watched last week's video, then of course I know you made money, right? If you caught the move, it may because price didn't end up giving enough entries, right? Price just when it broke, it just started flying higher. But remember, I told you about price breaking below here and coming into this resistance, but instead price kept blasting higher. Now let's go all the way down to the 15 minutes time frame so that let's talk about how to catch this pullback. Let's talk about how to catch this pullback. Now on the 15 minutes time frame, it looks like a triple top, right? You can see here, you can see here, you can see here. It's even more than a triple top. Price had attempted that zone and each time failed to break above that zone. So we have this trend line here that I've plotted for you guys. So for the initial part of next week, for this to catch this pullback, then we'd like to wait for price to break below this trend line. If possible, give us a retest before dropping all the way to 1.11843. All right. So if you're able to catch this on the 15 minutes time frame, then your target should be 1.11843. All right. So this is what I'm looking at on Euro USD, or this is my mindset, my thought process on Euro USD. But overall on Euro USD, I remain bullish. USDJPY, I sent out this chart on the Telegram channel. Last week was a Sunday or Monday at market open, my time. Called your attention to the fact that we closed last 2 weeks candlestick with a bearish engulfing candlestick. So I'll be expecting continuous drop on the USDJPY, and as you can see, that was exactly what we got. Now on the daily time frame, price has bounced off a strong support area here. You can see how price has used here as a strong level of resistance previously before breaking above it, and now price is using it as a support. So on the daily time frame, this is a strong rejection right here. This is a strong rejection right here. So just like the other USD pairs, I'll be expecting continuous bullish move until we come into a specific zone before we continue bearish. Now let's go to the 4-hour time frame to look at that specific zone. Now going to the 4-hour time frame, you can see that rejection clearly. You can see how we got series of 4-hour candlestick until we got into this zone, right? And you can see why we are stalling around that zone also. Why? Because price had used that zone as a level of support and resistance previously. So I'll be expecting price to take out that zone, give us a retest of, now the zone I'm talking about is 138.834. So I'd like to see price break above it, give us a pullback, then rise into 140.783 before we continue bearish. Overall on USDJPY, I am bearish, but if we take out 138.834, then retest it, I would like to see price come into 140.783 before we drop again. This is what I'm talking about. If we can take this out, then I'll expect a retest, come into here before we drop all the way down again. That's what I'll be expecting on USDJPY. But let's go to the 1-hour time frame. Let's see if we can see things clearly. On the 1-hour time frame, we're still seeing that rejection here. However, I'll be expecting price to tick out 138.834 at some point and continue higher. Now, I don't know if we're going to make it to 147.83 right here. I don't know if we're going to do that, but I know that we are going to continue bullish at least for Monday and Tuesday before we go bearish. All right, so I'm only bullish bias for Monday and Tuesday. Then anything from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, anything can happen. We can either continue bullish until we get into this zone, or we can start going bearish on USDJPY. Let me look at the 15 minutes time frame if we have anything interesting. I think nothing interesting at the moment. I'm going to be dropping chart analysis as price progresses on the Telegram channel and on the YouTube community. That is, I can post charts there. So if you are subscribed to my YouTube channel, you will also see that chart analysis there. So nothing interesting on the 15 minutes time frame. So let's just switch back to the 4-hour time frame. So I'll be expecting continuous bullish push for the early part of next week on USDJPY. But overall on USDJPY, I am super bearish. I mean, I've been bearish since here. If you remember, I called your attention to price dropping all the way from here, all the way to the downside last week. And that's exactly what price has done. All right. So after this significant drop, it's only normal for us to get a pullback before we continue. Now, last but not least on my list, let's look at gold. On gold, I'll be bullish next week on gold. I'll be bullish next week on gold. However, I'll be expecting an initial pullback. Why? You can see, I remembered I said I'll be expecting a rejection from here. Price was going to keep dropping down, right? But what I do here every week is to come and tell you my weekly analysis going into the next week, and you know how accurate I am, right? So yes, I was expecting price to keep dropping all the way to 180 regions, but price is doing other things. Now, I'm not saying we've changed trend, though technically on the weekly time frame, we are seeing higher lows, higher highs, right? So this could be a higher low forming, then we can end up creating a new higher high, right? But let's take it week by week on gold, because gold has been acting crazy. I hope I'm not the one noticing it. Gold has been acting crazy, right? So now let's focus on weekly projections on gold. Next week, I'll be expecting bullish gold. But before that, I'll be expecting initial bearish move on gold before we go bullish. So we need price to come into our zones early enough for us to continue bullish, or we may just likely end or close the week bearish, right? Now, what I'm talking about is, you can see how we closed for Friday. You can see how price has broken above here on the daily time frame, came into this zone and finding it difficult breaking above. As a matter of fact, we saw a rejection, and you see how we close with this bearish engulfing candlestick on Friday. So that's why I know that we are going to see initial bearish continuation on Monday. I'm talking about next week. Now let's go to the 4-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, you can see it clearly here how price is finding it difficult breaking above this area here. I mean, since Wednesday, price has been struggling breaking above this area, and now we've closed Friday with a bearish candle. So what should I be expecting next week? I'll be expecting price to come into 1946. In case you're wondering why not 1946 and not here, it's possible price can drop all the way down into here before we continue bullish again. Something like this. All the way down here before we continue bullish again. But for now, what I want to see is price dropping into here before we continue bullish. All right, so just focus on the fact that this pullback, this is where I'm expecting price to come into. If we break below here, then I'm expecting price to come here before we go bullish. All right, but my focus is we are going to see an initial pullback next week, right, before we get a bullish continuation. I still don't have much to say on gold except for this, so I'm just going to stop here. I'm going to send updates as price progresses. So if you've made it this far, thank you for staying to the end of this video. And if you are yet to subscribe to this channel and you like the value we provide on this channel, support us and encourage us by liking this video, sharing this video, and also subscribing if you have not. Because when we see our numbers grow, it makes us want to do more. All right, guys, if you don't even know how to do proper analysis, how do you make money in the Forex market? And now I have talked about how to do proper analysis in the mentorship programs, how to execute, how to do so much more. I mean, look at testimonies from those that have gotten this course, right? And they are doing well on their own. So if you have not gotten the course, if you are hesitating, if you are doubting, what is this guy even doing on this channel? Guys, before you buy the mentorship program, go and watch all my videos on this channel. Watch as much as you can. I know it's much you may not be able to watch everything, but watch as much as you can. Then come back and tell me if you think I don't know what I am doing. I mean, by this time, I don't even have to prove myself to anybody. In fact, I don't have to prove myself to anyone. All right, I know the value in that course, and it's in your best interest also to get the course. Of course, it's in my best interest because I'm also going to make money, of course. So do yourself a favor, grab that course. And once again, if you're yet to subscribe to our channel, do so now. Like this video, and please share this video. Share it on Facebook, share it on Instagram. You only got one like for me, you only got one subscribe for me, but by sharing this channel, you are going to be able to help this channel grow. All right, and that's it, guys. That's it. Once again, thanks for staying to the end of this video. I wish you a successful trading week, and I'll see you in our next video. Bye, guys.